to witness a stunning new discovery. An absolute breakthrough with the power to flip market losses into potential triple-digit wins, as much as 450%, 680%, even 930%. Hi, everybody. I'm Rob Booker. Like I said, get ready because you're about to see something you've never seen before. And I promise you, it's an absolute game changer. Look, I've been trading for 22 years. I started the first investing podcast in 2006, and I recently sold my media properties for more than $6 million. And over the years, I've interviewed some of the world's most successful traders. I talked to John Carter, who made more than $1 million on a single Tesla trade, not once, but twice. I sat down with Paul Scolari, who captured more than $5 million during the pandemic. And I met Jack Kellogg, who amassed a $10 million trading fortune by the age of 24, all elite traders. And yet today, I'm more excited than I've ever been. That's because we're sitting down with a man I've wanted to meet since my trading career began 22 years ago. And quite frankly, his successes are bigger than anyone I've ever met. The best part? He's agreed to show us his latest discovery, a phenomenon perfect for today's crazy market. Take a look at what I mean. Here's Ford Motor Company. In the 30 days before this phenomenon hit Ford, a $10,000 investment would have suffered a $1,100 loss. But in the 30 days after the phenomenon, that same $10,000 could have grown to over $40,000. And check out Zillow. The 30-day loss before the phenomenon was $2,000, but the 30-day gain after the phenomenon peaked at $61,800. And take a look at the SQQQ, an ETF tracking the NASDAQ. A $10,000 investment in the 30 days before the phenomenon would have lost $2,100. And in the 30 days after the phenomenon, that same $10,000 could have grown to $68,500. We'll be walking through the mechanics of this breakthrough in just a moment. More important, you're going to learn how you can turn this opportunity into a real shot at millionaire status. With that, let me bring on trading legend, America's #1 pattern trader, Tom Gentile. Tom, thanks so much for being here today.
Hey, Rob, it's my pleasure.
So, Tom, first, we've never met before, and I am not usually starstruck, but I gotta say, wow, this is a real honor.
Rob, the pleasure's all mine.
Now, I followed your career for a long time. In fact, when I began trading 22 years ago, you were already a dominant force in the market. And one of the things I've always admired about you, Tom, is your ability to adapt, to make money in all kinds of markets. You never stop innovating.
Yeah, Rob, that's because the markets never stop changing. You've got to adapt in order to survive.
Well, the changes we've seen in the last 12 months have been, dare I say, dramatic.
Yeah, I've never seen anything like it. These markets are completely unrecognizable. And the strategies that worked out in, say, 2015, 2018, 2020, they're just not going to cut it today.
And that's why we're here today, because you've made some profound changes in your approach.
Look, in the last 12 months, I've made a massive evolution. We ventured into uncharted territory, into what I like to call the market's dark space.
And that's where you and your team made a game.
What we found are little market abnormalities. They're such powerful agents of change, I should call them mutations.
Tom, when I hear the word mutation, I think of my 6th grade science class. I mean, mutations are not something I associate with the stock market.
Yeah, I would think that too. But again, these abnormalities can often spark such incredible change in a stock's behavior. So I feel mutation is an appropriate term. And by the way, these mutations are incredibly rare. In fact, they appear in less than 1% of a tradable equity on any given day. Plus, because they occur in the market's dark space, they're invisible to the human eye.
Okay, and from the work that you've done, the impact is transformational.
It sure is. Take a look. Here you see a $10,000 investment in KLAC in the 30 days prior to the mutation.
Okay, see here it lost to $1,200.
Right. But in the 30 days after the mutation, that same $10,000 investment would have been worth $31,300.
Okay, so obviously people want to get in after the mutation hits.
That's right. Here's another. This time we see a $10,000 investment in ALB the 30 days before the mutation.
Okay, so another loss, this time to the tune of $2,100.
Right, but in the 30 days after the mutation, that same $10,000 would have been worth nearly 50 grand.
So the phrase "little hinges swing large doors" comes to mind.
Right, and check this out. This is a $10,000 investment in Regeneron in the 30 days before the mutation.
Okay, so it's not an awful trade. It made $100.
Yeah, in the 30 days after the mutation, that same $10,000 would have been worth $103,000.
That's remarkable, Tom. And you're going to walk us through the mechanics in just a moment. But I just want to say, when your team set this interview up a month ago, they sent me all the back-tested data, all of your analysis for my review. And full disclosure, in addition to being a trader for the last 22 years, I also have a law degree. So I'm trying to be kind of skeptical and ask the hard questions. And that's why I spent the last 4 weeks conducting my own due diligence. I dove into the evidence. I analyzed the facts. I went through all of that stuff they sent over and scrutinized the data.
Well, Rob, I'm glad you gave us the hard look. So, what's the verdict?
Well, Tom, not only do these mutations check out, not only are they 100% real, but they also offer a monster opportunity for people who want to make money in these rough markets.
Well, I knew this all along, and that's why I'm so excited to share this with people. It's been a tough year. People need a new way to make money in the markets right now.
Let's get into the details. Earlier, you said these mutations are invisible because they occur in the market's dark space. Can you show us the dark space and explain what it is?
Yeah, that's a great question, Rob, because identifying these dark spaces was essential to this breakthrough. Keep in mind, for the last 30 years, I've made fortunes for my readers by finding and exploiting tradable patterns in the market.
Well, nobody does it better. That's why they call you America's #1 pattern trader.
Yeah, but remember, Rob, these markets have flipped upside down. And the speed at which the markets increased exponentially, we've seen institutional trading volume go through the roof. Volume hit $160 trillion in 2021. That's over $1.7 billion changing hands in the average minute. Over $284 million flying around every second. Now, I knew hidden somewhere in there, in that frenzy, was a new pattern.
So, an invisible pattern that most people couldn't see.
Right. Now, as a pattern trader, I chart stock data in order to find these tradable patterns.
Of course, charts can be adjusted to show different time frames. For example, you can chart a stock's data in years, months, days, or even hours.
Exactly. And each data point is a snapshot of the stock at a specific moment in time. So, for example, here's a chart tracking Zillow, one of the examples we talked about earlier.
Okay, and this one seems to be tracking Zillow by the minute.
It is, which means that each snapshot of Zillow is 1 minute apart.
Now, that's a pretty tight time frame.
Except when it comes to Zillow, you got over 137 million changing hands on an average day. That's $350,000 flying around every minute. And we started wondering, what the hell's going on in the dark spaces between the minutes?
All right, say more about that, Tom, because that's interesting.
Okay, well, think of it this way. Imagine you got a security camera on your front porch, right? And you take a picture every single minute on the minute. Now, imagine you're expecting an Amazon delivery. You get a confirmation the package has been delivered. But when you check your front porch, the package isn't there. So you go to your footage and you start watching.
All right, and I'd see pictures of the porch every minute on the minute.
Right. And let's say at 3:15, the package is still there. 3:30, package is still there. 3:35, the package is still there, but at 3:36, the package is gone.
So where'd it go?
You have no idea, and you can't find out because you don't have a picture of what happened in the space between 3:35 and 3:36.
And that minute is the dark space.
Yes, that's right. But let's change it up. Let's say that instead of taking a picture every minute, the security camera took a picture every second.
Well, if it did that, I'd be able to see into the dark space.
That's right. And here's what you'd see. At 3:35, the package is still there. At 3:35 and 5 seconds, the package is still there. At 3:35 and 10 seconds, the package is still there. And boom, at 3:35 and 15 seconds, your next door neighbor steps up on the porch, picks up the package, and takes it in for safekeeping.
So now I know what happened because I could see into the dark space between the minutes.
Yes, and it's the same thing in the market. Take another look at Zillow. This chart plots the data points by the minute. A minute passes, it takes another snapshot. Another minute passes, it takes another snapshot. Another minute passes, and
it takes another snapshot.
So what you get, it looks like this. Each snapshot is surrounded by dark space. And in that dark space, inside those minutes, Rob, you've got over $350,000 flying around. And that's just on the stock trades. Throw in options, it's even more.
So you need to look into the dark space to see what's really happening.
That's the key. Now, I spent millions developing a proprietary algorithm that's designed to see in the dark space. We call it darknet, and it's an extremely powerful device. In fact, it's armed with a neural engine capable of 15.8 trillion operations per second. And Rob, darknet can break down market action into tight second by second frames. So instead of dark space, we have 60 distinct snapshots of the market.
And before, those 60 essential snapshots were completely missing.
Exactly. But with darknet, all this changes. Take a look. You see it?
Yeah, that mutation is happening in Zillow.
Rob, the mutation is our tradable pattern. It completely flips the behavior of the stock. At one frame per minute, we would have completely missed it. But at one frame per second, the mutation is as clear as day.
And as we saw earlier, waiting for the mutation to hit makes a huge difference.
Exactly. A $10,000 investment in Zillow the 30 days before the mutation would have lost $2,000.
But in the 30 days after the mutation, that same $10,000 could be worth a peak of $61,800.
Here's another. This time we see Ford moving across time.
So, to a casual observer, or me before I learned all this from you, Ford looks like just another losing stock taking a 20% plunge.
On the surface, it does. But this chart is tracking in 1 minute increments. Thing is, Ford trades about $844 million per day. That means every minute there's over $2 million changing hands.
Well, that's a lot of action in the dark space.
That's right. In fact, hidden in the dark space, a mutation is occurring in Ford. In 30 days before the mutation, a $10,000 investment in Ford would have lost about $1,100.
And that's why waiting for the mutation is so critical. Because in the 30 days after the mutation, that same $10,000 could be worth over a peak $40,000.
Here's another, Rob. This time, let's look at SQQQ, the ETF tracking the NASDAQ.
I love this one. This is a chart showing 1 minute increments. So in this chart, you can't see the mutation.
No, you can't. It's hidden in the dark space. But when we break the move down into second by second frames
and look into the dark space,
we can see the mutation occurring in SQQQ. And again, the difference is extraordinary.
So let's see. In the 30 days before the mutation, $10,000 would have dropped 21%. So that's a $2,100 loss.
Yeah, gotta wait for the mutation. And there it is, flipping the whole scenario. In fact, in the 30 days after this mutation, that same $10,000 could be worth a peak $68,500.
Tom, let's stop for a second and consider the three examples you just walked us through, so folks can really understand why waiting for the mutation is so important.
Sure. $10,000 into each in the 30 days before the mutation would have lost $5,200. But that same $10,000 into each of these top-performing plays in 30 days after the mutation could have grown into a staggering peak gain of $170,400.
Over $170,000. Tom, this is remarkable. And to be clear, this isn't the first time you've disrupted the investment world. Back in 2009, I did a little research here. You and your team created a revolutionary trading platform, and you sold it for $20 million.
We did. And I'm glad you mentioned my team because my programmers are all the brains behind our technology.
I bet. I was reviewing your team's credentials, and I've never seen that kind of expertise in the investment space. I mean, they hold 16 patents issued by the U.S. government, plus they have scientific backgrounds in places like NASA, Raytheon, Texas Instruments.
Yeah, they got 112 years of programming experience combined. They are the best of the best, hands down. And so about 6 months ago, when the markets got really bad, I pulled my team together and said to them, hey, guys, we're at a crossroads right now. People are getting eaten alive. And the stuff that worked 5 years ago just isn't going to cut it. So let's forget everything we've done in the past. Let's turn everything upside down, inside out, and most importantly, let's find a new way to make money in this market.
I love it. It's like a coach coaching his team when the score is down. I love this. And that's exactly what led you to this breakthrough discovery. And by the way, your team conducted extensive analysis and backtesting on every possible signal and trend. What we're looking at today are the peak performers. Can you show us some more examples?
Absolutely. So let's start with KLAC, the $54 billion